Hello, everybody. Welcome to Grounded Roots Healing. I'm Jason. I'm going to attempt to keep looking at the camera. I believe it's right here. Yeah, if I look there. Okay. So that was intense, wasn't it? That, whatever you want to call it, this big gateway that opened up for us. A rising tide lifts all ships. So in my last video, I talked about how there would be 3 more waves of awakening before the actual split. And we're all in this together. We're all on these journeys of awakening that are plots or graphs of a style of awakening of each person. And each and every one of them is unique. It has to be. Your soul is split from source and split from everybody else. And your body avatar is unique. The part of you that is connected to Mother Earth is also unique. So you have no choice but to have a completely unique experience. However, we're all going through these individually, so to speak, even though we are the same higher consciousness. But the entire experiment is everybody. So when a big awakening portal starts and people that were completely asleep start to wake up, hi, nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here. Anybody who is already partly awake goes to another level. It's like we all lift together. Rising tide lifts all ships. So that happened for me. It was intense. I actually physically had an experience. I said physically, not physically. Spiritually had an experience. I did an activation by JJ. That's a very good channel, by the way. She does meditations and light language. But I did one of hers. It was a Mary Magdalene crystalline light body, I think, or something like that. I just love listening to her. It's hypnotic. So I turned this thing on. I was sitting, they're usually around 20 minutes. I was sitting in my office working, but we had some downtime. So I decided I'll just pretend like I'm sleeping, put my feet up, and I'll do one of these meditations. I always feel better. So I did that, and I experienced something profound. So I've had this mother wound that's been holding me back. In fact, the cycle keeps repeating itself in my life of looking for a mother figure or a mentor or someone to look up to, because as a child I was not taught to think for myself, and I was quite often berated and made to feel like I wasn't very capable. This is all to learn lessons and to become someone who is extremely capable. So you experience the polarities, right? If your lesson is you're here to learn, well, like I was for that particular lesson, it's so that you get to a point where you're infinitely better than that. You experience both polarities. If you grow up extremely poor, you become wealthy. This is the point. So I had this meditation on and I did it, and something just clicked. And then I had my mother, who's deceased, showed up. And somehow I knew I had to walk through this gateway. I've known this for a long time. Just instinctually knew. I've gotten messages and downloads that that's what I need to do. So I've been asking for that door to be put in front of me. So I did this, and my mother showed up to hold my hand, which was, I haven't seen much of her. I had to get past this before the complete forgiveness would lead me to be able to interact with her more often in the spiritual realm. So she took my left hand, and then in my right, I reached my right hand out and I looked over, and it was my wife's grandmother, who was very special to me. And they walked me to the gate and then said that they couldn't help me through it. I had to make that step myself. And I was crying at this point. And I just pushed through that door. And when I opened the door, I stepped through, and it was a meadow, but it was extremely bright, like blindingly bright. And then I came out of the meditation. So something clicked. And since that moment, I felt a lot of peace, internal peace. More than I felt in a long time. Now, unfortunately, I worked a night shift last night, and now I have to go drive approximately 8 hours. So my peace is not as good as it was. But after that happened, I had another interesting experience. My mother has often visited me as well as other people in my family as a dragonfly. It's happened to me several times, and other people as well. And I was outside trying to pretend like I'm not at an oil rig, staring out at the horizon, standing with my back to the rig. And I had a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden there was this bug in my face. It was so close I couldn't see what it was. And I tried to swat it away. I spilled my coffee all over the place. And when I had my look down on my hand, the dragonfly was landing on my hand. Then it flew from my hand and landed on my right cheek, then took off and left. It's been a long time since I had anything that obvious happen. So I'm in a very good space, and it's a level of confidence in the future that I've not had in a long time. That something big is coming, something important is going to change for me. And my intuition seems to be severely strengthened. So it's all been great. It was rough. It was emotional. It was a lot of things. Sorry, guys. But, man, to get through that is something else. So we do it. I'm interested to hear of what kind of experiences anyone else who's watching this has had, because I know that was intense for everybody, as well as the new people who've showed up. Welcome, guys. It's very nice. My subscriber count has been growing slowly here. Like I predicted, we were going to have a little bit of a surge, and that is exactly what happened. It's not insane, but I suspect it's going to grow. And if anybody finds this message at any point in history, it applies to you now. So in my last video, I said something about there'd be 3 waves of awakening. We passed one. And 2 more to come, and then the 3D split and heaven on earth. Well, that might be a bit of an exaggeration. We'll still be rather earthly, rather physically bound by that time. And there still will be a lot of healing to do for a lot of people. But we won't have the same outside pressures that we have now. We won't be living in this chaos-filled world and 3D world and doing 3D chaos jobs. So, compared to what we're in at the moment, paradise on earth. But that split, that's the key to where anyone who makes the cut gets to keep growing into the spiritual being that they are, without the ridiculousness of this 3D stuff weighing us down. So the healing process will be much easier, and amazing things will start to happen. But again, is it paradise on earth? For me, it will be, I'm sure. Still very physical, though. Now, make the cut. Who makes the cut? Well, if you're watching this video at any point in the future and it resonates with you, you've made the cut. Relax. There's nothing you need to do. There's no reason to panic. You've made it. You've started down the process of awakening. It can't be stopped at this point. There's a lot of work to do, and you can't spiritually bypass any of this, but you can't stop it now. And there's no way to... I've heard it said that whatever's meant for you won't miss you, or can't miss you. That is absolutely the truth. You can't avoid it now. You're in. It doesn't mean you get to avoid any of the pain and that you won't have to go through all the healing process. That's absolutely going to be the case. That is the reason we're here, is to learn lessons. And you being the divine snowflake that you are, unique in yourself, your particular set of lessons is going to be unique. And you have to do them. I can't do them for you. All I can do is explain what's happening while you're going through it, and hopefully give you some tips on how to do it easier. Make it easier on yourself. These things, these lessons happen in cycles. You get opportunities to heal each one. And because it's cyclical, that means that there's a high and a low. It's like being an addict. That circuit is ingrained into your system. I know, because I was an alcoholic. And from time to time, that circuit is still there. It will still cycle back up and get you to take a look at it. And it'll look like little bits of temptation or thoughts in your head. And it gets easier and easier to dismiss those. And eventually they'll stop coming, but it takes a long time to rewire that circuit. And it needs to be cyclical like that. Everything that challenges us is like that. It will come back. The key, like I was saying before I pressed the button, everything is cyclical, and it needs to be that way. It's the yin and the yang, the up and the down, the dark and the light. And, we wouldn't be able to come here and learn these lessons if we didn't have that polarity. And one of the biggest polarities, obviously, is evil and good. So what we deem evil is the polar opposite of what we deem as love. And we are beings of love who come here to experience things that we can't experience on the other side, which is separation and difficulty. Without that evil, you can't have the other. So if you've had extreme difficulty in your life to this point, you can count on it going the other direction. All you have to do is take the step, one step after the other. You're stepping away from this lower realm to a higher realm. You're elevating yourself. You're ascending. This is what it means. The ascension means to rise, to grow, to lighten up. To lighten, and they say to have be lighthearted. That's what they mean. Your heart isn't heavy. It doesn't have all of this stuff weighing you down. So you get to elevate. You get to rise, and we'll all rise in the new earth. I think I'll leave it there, guys. I got to get another 4 hours of driving ahead of me, so don't want to get too grumpy before I get to the hotel. So I'm going to leave it there.
Hey guys, I just wanted to add something to my video. I'm here in the hotel. Now I've been up for approximately 24 hours, so I'm extremely tired, but during the drive, the finished drive after I left off, I had a bunch more epiphanies, especially in regards to that mother wound that I was talking about. Bear with me, I feel like I'm slurring my words. I'm soon going to bed and I'm not going to get up for 10 hours, but in regards to this mother wound, there was a memory I had forgotten, suppressed, and it was in relation to disappointing my mother. And I remember because I had a hell of a time going to school. I never wanted to go to school. They had to drag me kicking and screaming. And then I had dyslexia, which they later learned. But at the time, I ended up failing primary. And I remember seeing the disappointment in my mother's eyes. And I had been held back, and then I was placed in a classroom with kids with severe learning disabilities for several years, actually. Now, this is obviously on purpose in order for me to learn that lesson. And she couldn't hide her disappointment. I mean, I remember her saying a few things, but for the most part, I could just tell that she was disappointed that her son was slow, which I wasn't. And to be frank, I enjoyed being with the other autistic kids and the kids with learning disabilities more than I did with the regular kids. They're more genuine, more kind. So I was happier there, but having autism myself, this explains a lot of the reasons that I was a slow learner to begin with, and it took a long time to figure out ways around the system that's poorly designed to teach autistic kids anything, for that matter. But I digress. I had that memory and I had that realization that this is what I was trying to do. I was looking for approval from female figures in my life because I was always trying to make my mother proud, because that little boy inside me had disappointed her. So that's what I needed to let go of. And the cycle just kept repeating itself in my life. Every time I would find someone to look up to, something I would do wouldn't be enough, or it would annoy them, or they would just be shitty to me. And that was going to continue until I stopped seeking for outside approval. This is the key, is that you have to look inward. You have to look to yourself. You have to parent yourself. And I don't have a mother left to seek approval from, and it's not right to try to find that in another human being. But there is one entity that you can run to for motherly support, and that's Mother Earth. And that was where I ran a lot of the time. And the good thing about her is she always accepts you. Yeah. So I think I'll leave it there. Big releases. I hope you guys have been having them as well. This is great, and I'm excited again for the future. I feel like my energy is going to come back. So. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. Love you guys. We'll see you soon.